Hello again from my front porch. I am very, very pleased to be back to my front porch because over the last 3 weeks, I have been traveling a great deal. Those of you who, we've been together for a while, you know that back before COVID, I was traveling quite a bit. And then, of course, COVID hit and everything came to a grinding halt. And then slowly we had a chance to do some things. I had a chance to go do some work travel, but then it slammed back shut again, and we kind of vacillated back and forth with what we were doing with it. Well, now we're at the point where things are picking back up, and it's not completely back to normal of what it was before, but we are moving in that direction. And so with that in mind, we now are doing greater travel. I am, at least, and members of my team have started as well. Now, we're all vaccinated now, and that taken care of. But that actually is what I wanted to talk about, because, as you know, these nifty little things here, these masks, I've never been a huge fan of them, but I wear mine. I've worn mine everywhere that I was expected to wear it, even if I didn't feel like it was absolutely necessary personally. I understood that, first of all, there are rules and regulations in different places. The different businesses and different locations have every right to say that they want you to wear it, in which case I need to respect that. And that there are just some situations, some settings, and some individuals that you'll be around that, while I might think that this doesn't really matter for that, they think it does, and there are just some battles that are worth fighting and some that are not. And in the greater scheme of things, I had opted more often than not to not make this a battleground. It just made sense to just wear the mask and just do that. Now, there are others who are hardline warriors against mask wearing. Okay, good for you. I'm not criticizing that mentality. I'm just saying that's not where I was at, even though I personally see these as not having anywhere near the impact that people want to claim that it does. You see, most of us are wearing masks like this, that at best are 2-ply fabric. Now, I don't care what kind of fabric it is, even if you get that, really fine woven Egyptian cotton that we like to get our bedspreads out of. Stuff goes through it. It is not designed to block what's happening. And in fact, masks never protected the wearer from getting stuff. Now, it's possible it minimizes some stuff, but more it was intended to keep me, if I have something, from spreading it to you. I mean, through coughing or sneezing, certainly, but even just regular talking and breathing. We spew moisture particles out of our mouth and out of our nose. And right now, I got some forming in my upper lip because it's a bit warm out here too. I should have opened the windows. Anyway, the thing that I've been bugged about is that we were told we had to wear the masks because any of us could be a carrier. Any of us could be spreading COVID-19. You could be an asymptomatic carrier and not even know it. Someone like myself, who I tend to have a really robust, really strong immune system, someone like me could contract COVID-19 and not recognize I have COVID-19. That I might think that I just have a flu bug or a little cold. In fact, there are some people who tested positive for COVID-19 that showed no symptoms whatsoever. And so, that's the ultimate definition of asymptomatic. But they were a carrier of it. And so we were told that that's why everybody needed to wear these masks, was because any of us could be an asymptomatic carrier. And if that's the case, you don't know you have it. You don't know who you're spreading it to. You don't know who you're coming in contact with. And then there's the domino theory, that you may come in contact with somebody else who equally has a strong immune system, and you give it to them. It doesn't really impact them a whole lot either. However, they then turn around and spread it to somebody who doesn't have a strong immune system, and it becomes a problem for them. So, okay. And I mean, my girlfriend, Lisa, she's got Crohn's disease. So she has a compromised immune system all the time. So, that was one motivation for me to consider wearing the mask, because, if I do have something, I want to minimize how much I would potentially spread to her. But even in that scenario, this really only partially works for that purpose. I saw the really silly, in my opinion, analogy cartoon thing that went around the internet, and it's a little crude. I'm sorry if you find this too crude, but it was out there. You probably saw it, and that was of two men peeing on each other. And hold on with me before you just tune out at this point. The way the analogy went was you've got these two guys, and this guy, two guys, and neither guy is wearing pants. And this guy starts to pee. Well, when he starts to pee, he's going to pee on this guy over here, who's also not wearing pants. And because you're not wearing pants, his pee is getting all over your legs and everything, and it's just getting right on your skin, and that's nasty. Okay, I agree, that'd be nasty. I also think it'd be weird if I was walking around outside without pants, but that's a whole other story. But for the sake of the example, that was, and so then they said, the point is for that guy to be wearing pants so that when he pees, he only wets himself. It runs down his own legs onto the ground, and it doesn't get spread everywhere. But even if he's not wearing pants, you should wear pants, because then if he's not wearing pants and he starts to pee, well, then it's not getting on you. It's only getting on your pants. Your pants are deflecting a lot of that. Now, I'm sorry. I've raised children. And one of them was a little boy, and accidents happen. And I'll tell you what, even a little child, they pee on my pants, and it's going through to my skin. Those pants are not doing anything to block that. And in the case of two grown adult men, if this guy pees on me and I'm wearing pants and he's not wearing pants, yes, my pants are getting soaked in his pee. However, at the same time, it's going right through those pants. A lot of it is going right through those pants to me. And plus now I have to figure out how do I get these pants off me, because they're gross now. How do I get them off me without getting it all over my hands and everywhere else around? It's just a stupid analogy. It just really doesn't work. But it gets even more stupid when you recognize that in this scenario here, where urine is being used as a replacement for COVID-19, urine is a liquid-based substance, and we're operating the analogy in the open air. Well, that's not authentic. Because the COVID-19 particles, while they are moisture-based, they are small particles that travel through the air. That's the environment they work in. So a better, more accurate analogy would be take those two guys, have them both be wearing pants, and stand them in a swimming pool. And now this guy over here starts to pee. I guarantee you it's not running down his legs and to the ground in the pool. We all know what happens when someone pees in a pool. Their swimsuit does not hold it in. It spreads out. You've seen the movie, Grown Ups, where they make a big deal about the pools now that have dye in them, so that you can tell when someone is doing that and you can see their urine spreading out. It's done for laughs, ha ha ha. But that's the reality of how it works. And so the idea that I have this flimsy piece of fabric and I'm wearing this on my face, and that this is in any way protecting me from you spreading something is totally ridiculously, absurdly hysterical. And yet, there's a lot of people out there who think that's the case, who think you need to wear a mask so that you can be safe. No. You need to wear a mask so that you don't spread stuff. That's really the point of the masks. However, even at that, if I cough or if I sneeze wearing this mask, yeah, it's going to retain some stuff inside the mask. It's gross, but it will. However, at the force and the speed at which that's coming out of me, a lot of that is going right through this mask and out the sides and out the little edges here around my nose. And plus, that stuff is gathered on the inside of my mask. As soon as I am at a point outside of wherever I can take it off, I take it off and I do this, and I have just fanned all of that out into the open. So, I've never been a big fan of the masks. I don't think they do what we have been claimed to do. I think it's virtue signaling. It's a tangible, physical thing that people could strap on their face, and we could say we're doing something. It's kind of like gun-free zones to end gun violence. They do nothing. If I have a gun and I want to go kill somebody in a gun-free zone, I don't care what the sign says. I'm going on in. That's reality. That's and these we can all feel good that we were doing something. We were wearing a mask. Yay, good for us. But I don't think it really did that much. And they certainly are not everything they've been claimed to be. Now, this is not just me ragging on masks. This is me ragging on the hypocrisy of masks. And here's where the hypocrisy comes in. Now we're all being encouraged to get vaccinated. Now let's talk about the vaccine for a moment. The vaccine does not immunize you. You are not immune from getting COVID-19 if you've been vaccinated. No. On the contrary, the vaccine simply is supposed to help build up your resistance so that, I said before, maybe someone like me who's really healthy, I could get COVID-19, not really know I have it. My symptoms might be minimal. The point of the vaccine is to make sure everybody reacts that way. The idea is that if you've been vaccinated, if you then get COVID-19, it will be minimal impact on you. You won't have to be hospitalized and it won't kill you. Admirable. I support that. That's a great objective. But we are now being told that a little carrot being dangled to get you to get out and get vaccinated is that if you get vaccinated, then you don't have to wear this anymore. The hypocrisy is those two have nothing to do with one another. Zero. Nothing. Now, I'm not a medical professional, but just based on what we've been told, those two things have nothing to do with each other, because after being vaccinated, I still can get COVID-19. Only now, because I've been vaccinated, my symptoms will be minimal. So I now have been created to be, if I wasn't before already, I have now been genetically modified to be an asymptomatic carrier. I can be fully vaccinated, contract COVID-19, not know that I have it because I've been vaccinated, and then turn around and spread it to somebody else. Well, yeah, but we're saying that you don't have to wear the mask around other people who've been vaccinated. Again, if I've been vaccinated, I can contract COVID-19 and I can go to somebody else who's been fully vaccinated and I can give it to them. They can still contract COVID-19 and it can go on and spread on, hand off, until finally it reaches somebody who has not been vaccinated and who does not have that strong immune system, and they face the deadly repercussions. Well, that's why I want everybody to be vaccinated, because then nobody has that problem. Well, that's still not even a full guarantee. But that's the long-term goal. Yes, I get that. I understand that. But stick with me here for a minute. We're told that, somebody has a very loud car. They're very mad. It's nice outside. I'm not surprised you're doing that. But so we're told that if I've been fully vaccinated, I don't have to wear the mask, that I can take the mask off. Because the risk to the other person is less because they've been vaccinated. Okay, now think about that a minute. The reason we were told to wear the masks, the reason we had to shut everything down, was because of this risk that being around other people, asymptomatic carriers. See, if somebody had symptoms, well, then we could spot that and we can say you need to go home and quarantine, you need to. But no. We shut everything down because of the fear, the paranoia of asymptomatic carriers. Well, now, being fully vaccinated, we have an army of asymptomatic carriers, the potential for asymptomatic carriers. The mask wasn't doing anything to prevent it before, in my opinion. And it's especially not doing anything now. The mask is doing the exact same thing now that it was doing before, whether I've been vaccinated or not. And my ability to spread it as an asymptomatic carrier remains the same as before I was vaccinated. But there is no connection whatsoever. If I get vaccinated, it is about me and my response to COVID-19 inside my own body. The mask is about what I might spread to somebody else. The two are not connected. Not connected at all. So, that is a huge element of hypocrisy, that the CDC now is issuing these new ever-changing guidelines as far as when you need to wear a mask, when you don't. We see cities changing, counties changing, states changing. We see businesses changing the rules about things. There's confusion. When should I wear a mask? When shouldn't I wear a mask? All this kind of stuff. Honestly, I don't see reason why we're still wearing them at all, to be frank. But I've been flying a lot lately, and on the planes and in the airports, you still have to wear the mask. In fact, they outright say The CDC guidelines are not federal law. Federal law dictates what you have to do in the airport and on the plane. Federal law still says you have to wear this. CDC guidelines say no. If you've been fully vaccinated, around other fully vaccinated people, and all this kind of stuff. But even beyond that, we're starting to see it even broaden farther. That it used to be 6 foot of separation. Now we're down to 3 foot of separation. And we're compressing it. Well, that's because of the vaccine. Again, stop saying that. The vaccine doesn't immunize you. So stop saying that. All these changes made as we're pulling these things down, and yet on airplanes and in the airport. On the airplane, I could maybe understand you're sitting right next to the person, literally shoulder to shoulder, because they're filling all the seats again now. But in the airport, where there's more space for people to spread out, why would you have to keep wearing them? Because the federal law says so. In the last administration, when the Trump administration had policies that contradicted what the CDC was saying, we all came unglued. You need to respect the science. You need to go by what the science says. And now here we are with an administration now that is out of alignment. The CDC says this is what they can be, and federal law still says, nope, it's this way. So we again have an administration whose policies are not in alignment with the science, and yet there is no criticism. There's no calling them out for that disconnect. Another element of hypocrisy. But even within the airports and the airlines, they make all these announcements about things that are and are not. Now, this flimsy little piece of fabric is allowed, is permitted, is considered something that keeps people safe in one way or another. And yet, neck gaiters, those kinds you wear around your neck and you pull up over your face, those are not allowed. Can't wear those. I don't understand what the difference is. In fact, in my mind, that's actually providing more protection than this is. This is only covering part of my face. That's covering all the way around. But the big announcements in the airports, recorded announcements repeating on the airplanes, they say it stuff. But I saw several individuals wearing neck gaiters in the airport, walking around, and nobody said anything to them. You know why? Because they were all pilots of the airlines wearing the neck gaiters that they were pulling up. Nobody saying a thing to them at all. But there they were. Even as we're hearing the recordings, so again, the hypocrisy, and some will say, well, that's just because people are confused. They don't know what to do right now. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. This is virtue signaling. That's all it is. That's why it's so easy to say you don't need to wear it, or it's why it's so easy for people to wear something else or do something else, and we're not seeing a dramatic negative impact from that. Because this, in my opinion, again, I'm not a medical professional, but I know what I observe. This is not the reason we have a difference being made. This, we might as well just chuck it anyway. But when I fly, when I'm in the airport, if I'm in a place that still expects you to wear a mask, I still wear it because I go back to, is it a battle worth fighting? But what I do know is my brain chemistry has been altered. And by that I mean, I now, as somebody who wasn't a fan of masks, I find myself feeling a little weird when I walk into an establishment and I'm not wearing a mask and nobody else is wearing a mask, and there's a part of my brain that's like, oh, this feels a little weird. Why does it feel weird? Well, it feels weird because I've now been, over the course of a year, trained to think that that is weird. That's a problem. I also now have started to see memes from people saying that as mask mandates are going away, you might see people choosing to still wear a mask. But don't criticize them. Don't belittle them. Don't ridicule them. Don't make assumptions about them, because you don't know. There may be a very legitimate reason they're still wearing a mask. And it's true. It is very true. People going through cancer treatment, for example, or other respiratory things that they wear as a means of protection to, it doesn't cut out a lot of stuff you're breathing in, but it might help in some ways. There could be any number of reasons why they're totally, and it could just be that they're concerned. Hey, they have a right to be concerned. They can still wear the mask if they want, no problem. But some of the people who are now saying to have understanding and sympathy and consider the individualness of the person before you criticize them for wearing a mask would have been the same people a few months ago criticizing somebody for choosing to not wear a mask. And there were just as many equally valid reasons for you not to wear a mask other than I'm protesting masks. People with anxiety issues, people with breathing issues, I mean, the list is lengthy in there. It's all over the internet. You can go find it. A lot of reasons why that somebody may have an actual legitimate reason for not wearing a mask, and yet we had the mask Nazis out there looking for them, trying to track them down, trying to report them, all this kind of stuff. And you know, now we're supposed to have compassion and understanding for someone who chooses to wear a mask, but we weren't projecting that same thing towards those who were not wearing a mask before. Again, the hypocrisy is just staggering here. And people can justify whichever side they're on. I get that. We tend to do that all the time, but I will be glad when these things are just done, when we finally drive the nail in this coffin, because I don't think they have done anywhere near the level of good that we want to believe that they have, but they do. Their continued presence continue to be a source of division and a source of ongoing blatant hypocrisy. All right, I'll get off my soapbox now. It's been rather long anyway, but with that, I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.